So, you're 50 something and facing financial difficulties. Many of us keep silent about financial struggles. There's almost a feeling of being ashamed to even speak about it. So, you thought you'd be doing a lot better financially. So did I. You feel like you've done everything you can to make it through. And still, somehow, it's rough. Yeah, me too. So it's taking everything within you just to hold on and be strong and have hope. Yeah, me too. You're wondering if God hears you. Yeah, he do. But me too. You don't exactly see an expiration date to all this struggle. It's okay. You'll get through.
If you want to change your life, you got to change your mindset first.
Today, I want to talk about something that a lot of us go through, but we often don't talk about it. Let's get into it. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Sassy and Seasoned. Today, I want to talk about something that we often go through, but don't talk about it. Many of us keep silent about financial struggles, especially as we get closer to the age. There's almost a feeling of being ashamed to even speak about it. There's almost a feeling of we're not where we're supposed to be and we're ashamed of it. Today, I'm here to share my journey, to share how life has often offered me financial difficulties. Let's talk about it. I'm going to share with you my ups and downs and how faith has kept me going. In this day and age, I think it's okay to share with others your financial problems and problems in general. And the idea is to build a sense of community. You can't build a sense of community unless you talk about it. So let's share. I want to hear your stories too. The last 3 to 4 years actually have been just insane. It has offered so many struggles, so many things that I had to go through, so many obstacles that I had to overcome. But looking back, I was financially stable. I was able to travel wherever I wanted to go and did quite often. I was able to, in fact, even live off of my savings that I saved for 2 whole years. Life was good. But I will let you know that the last 4 years have been financially straining. In fact, I've had to have 2 jobs and multiple side hustles just to make ends meet. And that's my reality at 50 something. I know the goal is to get our age, my age, and be financially sound. That's not my story. And I know that they say we should be prepared to lose our parents and pick up the torches of where they left off at our age. But let me tell you, that's no easy task. I lost both of my parents within 4 months of each other. And that knocked me off my feet, quite frankly. And so I mentioned that I did have savings that I lived on for 2 years. Well, it took about 2 years just to get back on my feet and just to heal and be able to be functionable again. Well, that's how I ended up in financial strain. The Lord moved me to another city, another state, in fact. And so I'm here. And so you think if the Lord sent you, certainly the milk and honey will be flowing. Well, not always. And I don't blame God. I don't fault God. It's just how the circumstances led. Some of it I blame myself. And then others, God was teaching me lessons through it all. There's only one way to teach you things, and that's to have you go through them. And it's your attitude that makes the difference. It's whether you fall from Christ or to Christ that makes the difference. And if I didn't have Christ in my life, if I didn't have faith in my life, then I honestly do not know where I would be. There were many times when I felt like, Lord, why have you forsaken me? And, it took some praying and it took reading the Bible and some counsel to get to a place where I can say, God has not forsaken me. He has been here this whole time. But how else will I learn to grow up unless I go through it? I'm in a place where my current goals right now is to leave a lineage for my grandchildren. Is to be financially sound. Is to have a great big savings account. Is to have investments. Is to have means, certainly, to pay my rent every month. And let me tell you, it has been a struggle to just pay my rent. When I first got here, I could not find a job. Got here, I took the 2 years off. Then after 2 years, I could not find a job. I had to accept the first job that came along, which was just a part-time job. And let me tell you, I have a great resume. I've worked some of the best jobs in Los Angeles, jobs that paid me well over $100,000. So after the part-time job, I was faced with eviction, and so I decided to move before the eviction process happened, just for a fresh start, closer to where my part-time job was. Well, I found out, guess what? Those ends are not going to meet. I had an itty-bitty savings that I was kind of compensating with, and eventually that ran out. So I had to take up a second part-time job just to make ends meet. And let me tell you, when you come home from a day's work, you're supposed to be rejuvenated and ready to go. I was exhausted. And then have to do it over and over and over again. I often just ask the Lord, how long could this last? I felt like a zombie, just working just to eat and live. Now, we're not talking about the lap of luxury. We're talking about just to be able to pay your bill and to have a roof over your head. Certainly by this age of 50, we shouldn't have to worry about a place over our head, a place to live. But how many know that sometimes that's not our reality? How many are in the same place as me and have to struggle hard in your 50s just to make ends meet? Here's one of those days where I'm so tired. It's Friday and I'm just like forcing myself today. You do get tired. It's what you tell yourself and your self-talk that gets you through. Remind yourself that each step that you take, you're one step closer to getting to where you want to be. Well, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And it all starts with making your plans and changing your life. It's never too late to turn your life around. And the first thing is to get those negative thoughts out of your head of how life should have been.
If you want to change your life, you got to change your mindset first.
If life should have been that way, by all means, it would have been that way. So let's get those negative thoughts out our head and start afresh. Take time to write down affirmations that will help you to get out of this negative state. Write down Bible verses that will help you. The Lord likes it when we remind Him of what His Word says. I always say, Lord, you said that if I asked that you would provide. You said that you are our provider. You said that we should not want. I remind Him of exactly everything that He said. He's listening. We have to get from a place of bitterness and move into something positive, because at the end of the day, we know that God cannot work in bitterness. He cannot work in negativity. So we have to try, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard, and you can be bitter because why am I here? Why am I here at this age? Why? Well, let's stop asking why and do something about it. And there's plenty that can be done. Let me share with you my journey. No matter what you're going through or what you're feeling, it is your self-talk that gets you through. Some days I'm going down my stairs saying, left, right, left, right. I mean, sometimes that military thinking, military mindset gets you through. Reality is we have to do what we have to do. We have to do what we have to do until we can do what we want to do. Once again, we have to do what we have to do, those steps over and over until we can do what we want to do. Those steps, that pleasure, vacation, things like that, things you want to do. So it's a process. Do what you have to do over and over and over and over and over if you have to until you can do what you want to do. Life is better. I'm not as stressed out as I used to be. God has given me tools to be able to help myself. Honestly, I will let you know that not just that one time I had to think about eviction. Yes, most recently I had to think about it again. And it's just as easy to happen as, here's your choice. I need my car to get to work, so I have to take care of my cars. It's dangerous to have a blowout on the road. So what did I do? I said, okay, rent's due, but I'll go ahead and get two used tires, not new now, used tires, and I'll pay rent on the 15th. Well, how many of you know in this day and time that just that one little thing without a savings account or something to fall back on can cause catastrophe? I do. By the time my next check came around, I'm a 1st and a 15ther. By the time my next check came around, the fees was astronomical. I couldn't afford to pay the fees. Not to mention, you still have to pay the rent. So how my apartment unit works is after the 10th, you pay a certain amount. And then they charge you every single day after the 10th. And so if you pay on the 15th, like I did, I had 5 days of daily charges, and you can just imagine how much those charges were. It's unachievable. And I often think that the rent rules are so unfair. I mean, if you're late for a reason. And so, I don't know, I think there should be some compassion there, but there's not. Okay? So, both times I was facing eviction was because my car had issues, and I need my car. I need my car. I can't get to work unless I have a car. So that's my reality. Even though there's not enough money to go around, I get creative in ways how I can save money and be able to get a little nest egg to be able to save, have emergency savings or something like that. Now, there's no Christmas, there's no extra spending, there's no vacations. And those of you who know me from the past, I have a whole channel on travel. So I'm accustomed to good living, but this is my reality. And trip where? How? It's just not gonna happen. I'm focused on just making my ends meet right now. Well, for me, it's just about getting in alignment with God and believing what His Word says. I've never seen the righteous forsaken for bread. I just haven't seen it. And He's always come through for me. So I only have faith that it will continue to get better. And I need you to have faith as well. God is not going to leave you where you are now. It is not too late for your life. It is not too late for you to make a plan for your life that is going to sustain you for the rest of your life. Well, how do we get there, you ask? We get there with a plan. It's not by accident that you get to financially sound and stability. You have to plan for stability. You have to have a budget. You have to fill your life with affirmations and good things. The devil does not, he wants you to live in poverty. He wants you evicted so you can be on the street. You ever ask, why are there so many homeless people? For one, the rent is too high for many people, and people have no hope. They end up here. These are people that didn't have any hope. These are people that couldn't imagine having a second chance at life and then winning at life. Do not let this be you. God does not want this to be you. So you have to believe in yourself that there's always a second chance and a second time. And no matter where you are financially, but it starts with you. And you have the power within you to change it by leaning on the right person, which is God. God will see you through. He will give you the tools that is necessary to start a new life. He will give you the ideas that is going to sustain you for the next part of your life. He will give you every single thing that you need to change your life. And it's said that you have everything within you right now to make that change. Believe in yourself. It's not too late, 50-something. Yes, I'm 50 and fabulous. Yes, I'm sassy and seasoned. But it's not too late for me. And it's not too late for you either. After all, when you're this age, all you want is stability. How many of you can relate to just wanting stability in your life? But not only do I want stability, I want a lineage. I want to be able to leave my grandchildren something. Let me just be honest. I felt like they didn't think much of me because I didn't have much to give to them. And it may or may not be true, but I'm not taking it for true, because I really think that that type of thinking and those type of thoughts come from Satan. He feeds us these words in our mind, and they do not have to become your truth. You do not have to agree with these thoughts. You think about it and say, hey, that's not my thought. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get out of my head. Because honestly, the thoughts will come. That's his job. Satan does his job, and he does it quite well. So what do we have to do? We have to do our job quite well. We have to counteract that thought. We have to recognize that thought and throw it out. I often speak out loud. I'll say, hey, that's not my thought. That ain't even how I think. Like, I can be watching church or something like in church, and this thought will come, about maybe their clothes or just anything. You have to recognize that those thoughts do not belong to you and throw them out. They're counterproductive. In my darkest days, I remember sitting on my bed, teared up and just crying with all hope lost. And I remember turning to my faith. And I remember opening the Bible and seeing, this too shall pass. It gave me hope that this situation that I'm in, this horrific situation that I'm in right now, this too will pass. And guess what? It will pass for you too. You have to have hope. I was at the point when I was facing eviction where I sought out for help. They have these agencies that is supposed to be homelessness programs. And so I reached out to them, and I didn't want help all the time. I just wanted help one time because my situation was kind of changing. And then there was another time that I sought help just for a down payment into a new apartment. And guess what? They turned me down. I said it gets no more crucial than where I am right now. I am looking at eviction. It does not get any worse than that. And they said that I made too much. I have a part-time job. Either you have to have absolutely nothing for them to help, or I'm not sure. But I was in the most volatile situation, and I could not believe they would not help me. I did have a Catholic charity. This is when I didn't have a job at all. Catholic charities paid my electricity bill, which the rates are enormous out here. They paid my bill one time. And after that, I was on my own. So let's face it, there's not much help out here for us. So we actually really have to be great with a plan, great with our faith, great with our positivity. And we have to believe that we can do it and never give up. You can never give up, because the alternative is homeless. The alternative is horrible. We can't do that. Believe in yourself. If I can get past those dark days of crying every night, asking God why has He forsaken me, and how did I end up here? Why did He send me to a place that I would struggle so hard? In my hometown, I would never. The reality is I went from a job making well over 100K to getting a job that doesn't even pay half of that. My first job, I went back to making money that I made in my early 20s. My early 20s. And once you accept a job making that much, there's not much motivation for that employer, no matter how well you work. If they're paying you that amount of money, they're not in no hurry to pay you any more. It's up to you to have the ambition, even if you like the job, which I like this job that I'm at. But they're simply not paying me what I know I deserve. So it's up to me to make moves and be progressive about what's next in my life. Well, right now, I have managed to get a full-time job instead of working the 2 jobs that was absolutely killing me. But it was what I had to do. So I have 1 job, but I'm still not making the money that is needed to sustain my lifestyle. So here I am making decisions, being proactive instead of reactive in my life. I'm being proactive of what's next. Where do I go from here? Applying for jobs and finding out the next avenue. What's my side businesses? Those are the things that we have to begin to think about proactively. And it can mean the difference between a successful life and not. That song, who do I run to? You run to God. You run to positivity. You run to all things good. I'll tell you, life can be a different place out here in the world without parents. It's a whole different place. But Christ is there. He will never leave you nor forsake you. He will always be there. That you can depend on.